We're alive. Hey, everybody. Pardon me while I try to get my mic hooked. This is shoulder stand. Guys, welcome, good morning. I'm going to show you a prop that I love to use for shoulder stand and a lot of seated poses. I think having a blanket to support your practice is an amazing idea. If you have a blanket nearby, go and grab it and get it into a nice, fairly big shape here. If you had a thicker blanket, I'd love it even more. This is a pretty thin one. But if you don't have a blanket, don't worry. I'm going to show you how to use your mat as a blanket itself. So lots of options today. We're going to be flowing into a shoulder stand practice today. If you have any neck or shoulder injuries, or you've recently had glaucoma surgery or migraine, if you've heart attack, stroke, there's a couple of contraindications for these deep inversions like shoulder stand. And when we come to that shoulder stand part at the end of the class, I'll be showing you alternatives that are safe for everybody. So even if in this moment you're thinking, oh, shoulder stand, that's scary, don't be scared. Everybody can benefit from these poses, and we use the pose to come into the body to make the pose work for us. We're not changing the body to fit into the pose, it's the other way around. So, let's come up onto your mat. Give your legs a little shake. And we're going to take our feet slightly wider than hip distance apart. Bend the knees so that you can feel your own body weight drop down through your feet. Do you feel how grounded that is? And maybe just a little bounce to come into just a sense of being here, beginning your yoga practice. So the rest of the world disappears, and you're here. This is your alone time, your time with the self. Let's place one hand on the top of the chest and one hand on the lower belly. Keep the knees just gently bent so you can feel that drop through your feet. Now, can you feel a drop in the breath where every inhale comes in through the nose and drops all the way down to the lower belly? Feel your toes and the heels in the floor. Feel your feet. Feel the support of the earth underneath you. And come into this body. Come into this body. This moment. Breathe between the hands. And then please drop your right ear over to your heavy right shoulder. Let your elbows hang. Feel that body weight through the feet, grounded. And inhale, lift the head. Exhale, left ear to left shoulder. Breathe here, heavy elbows. Inhale, lift the head, and exhale, drop chin down to chest. We're going to take a couple old-fashioned neck rolls. We inhale, right ear, right shoulder. These are just half neck rolls. So we exhale, drop the chin back down to chest. Inhale, left ear, left shoulder. Keep the shoulders still and heavy, elbows hanging. Knees still gently bent so you can feel grounded through the feet. Let's take one more neck roll here, left ear to the left shoulder. And then on a deep exhale, drop the chin down to chest. Release the hands. Then push down through the feet. Inhale, come up to a proud Tadasana, a mountain pose. Let's bring the feet slightly closer together. Inhale, roll the shoulders up towards the ears. And exhale, squeeze the shoulders down the back. They're gonna touch the shoulder blades and drop down. Twice more just like that. Nice, simple, easy warm-ups here, but often we get into body habits where we don't use the full range of movement that we've got in our shoulders. The shoulders are amazingly mobile, and that's what we're gonna be exploring today. Let's take the fingertips onto the elbows, or onto the shoulders. The elbows squeeze back now, so going in the opposite direction. Try to draw huge circles with the elbows. They come up, they touch in front of your face. How much can they touch as you take them down? Twice more, just like that. Link the movement to the breath. Let the breath help you open through the shoulders, open through the front and back of the chest. Last deep breath in, elbows push back and lift tall. And exhale, release. Let's inhale, bring up energy through the feet, up through the body, fingertips touch the ceiling. We're gonna hold the left wrist with the right hand, step the left foot behind, bend the right knee, come into a side stretch. So we're gonna warm up the spine and the shoulders and neck today before our shoulder stand practice. Let's take a deep breath into the left lung and drop the gaze down to the left foot. And inhale, come all the way up. We're gonna change sides, hold on to the right wrist, right foot, steps back. Left knee needs to bend here a little so you can really get into that opening through the right side of the body. Use the breath, direct the breath as the chest lifts up high over the hips. Can you breathe into the right side of the body? Let's look down towards the left big toe. Relax the neck. And then inhale, come all the way up. Reach out through the whole body. Push your feet into the floor. Can you feel yourself expanding downwards and upwards at the same time? And then exhale, soften the knees. Firm the belly. Drop the spine long. Let the spine hang or pour out of the hips. Hold on to opposite elbows. Soften the face. And here to release some shoulder tension, you might take a couple shoulder rolls or shoulder shakes. You might nod the head yes. Shake it no. Let the lips and tongue soften, brain heavy, focus in. And I really invite you to experience the bhava. Just the feeling, the emotions of every pose. Come into your practice. Let's place fingertips to the floor. And then inhale, right leg reaches up and back, and as we exhale, it steps towards the back of the mat, right knee down. Inhale to come up into a low Anjaneyasana asana. We're going to exhale, tuck the elbows in next to the waist. It's like we're holding two trays in our palms, and we're gonna tip the contents of those trays back, so that the elbows scoop forwards, and the thumbs reach down. Now notice how that moves the shoulder blades together and down the back, and how the bottom tips of the shoulder blades lift the front of the chest here. Take a deep breath. Exhale, place the hands back down, step back, plank pose. Firm the belly, lift the armpits away from the thumbs. Feel the back of the chest spread towards the ceiling. And breathe, fill the whole pose with breath. Every time you breathe in prana, energy to hold these poses. Exhale, lower the knees. Bring the chest and then the forehead down to the floor. The tips of the shoulders stay slightly lifted. Point the toes. And then reach around to your back. Touch your fingertips together, index fingers, and then the fingernails touch the back of your hips. Squeeze your shoulders away from the ears and then squeeze them together. Press the elbows away from the floor. Lift up into a cobra here. So deeply strengthening in the back. From here, slide your fingers to an interlace. Palms look towards each other. Inhale, lift it up higher as you interlace the hands. Reach back. And exhale. Bring the hands under the shoulders and draw it back into a long child's pose. Reach the fingertips forwards, drop the forehead, rest the brain. Relax into the breath. Let's inhale, come up. Hands and knees pose, wrist creases parallel to the front of the mat. We're gonna have a little play with the shoulders, where we drop the rib cage and the whole spine down towards the floor. I'm going to demonstrate this from a different angle so you can see that this is not cat-cow. The shoulder blades, it's almost like hanging your chest on a clothesline. So the shoulder blades, we're just hanging off them here. It might not be very comfortable. If it causes pain, you know not to do it. And then we draw the shoulder blades down the back, and now there's that pressing away from the armpits, lifting the whole chest and spine up. Shoulders come up towards the ears, and we realize that we're making shoulder blades move in circles. So that full range of motion of the shoulder blades sliding along the ribs. The ribs press up towards the shoulder blades. And the ribs drop away from the shoulder blades. So just see how that feels. Let's try it in the other direction. Ears and shoulders touch. And they move deeply away from each other. So the spine itself is not changing shape, but it is moving up and down. And then from here, tuck toes under and come into your downward facing dog. Reach fingertips into the floor so that you can reach through the shoulders. Find the length of the spine. So that might mean bending the knees a little today. Find the length in the spine. Decompress the spine. And then on an exhale, tuck right knee into the chest, step that right foot all the way forward. Left knee comes down. We inhale, lift it up, Anjaneyasana. And then we squeeze the elbows in again. I like to think here that my forearms are mimicking the shape of my shoulder blades. So the bottom tips of my shoulder blades and my elbows scoop, press forwards, and lift. And then the top parts of my shoulder blades, or my fingers and thumbs, are reaching back. So if we were holding a tray, we are tipping backwards. Lifting and opening the front of the chest. Let's take one more breath here. Exhale, place the fingers, step back up, forward fold. Inhale, come all the way up. And we exhale, we fall back down again with control. Brain heavy, face soft. Let's pause here again. Breathe down into the lower back. Let it go. Soft shoulders, soft jaw, soft tongue, soft eyes. And then inhale, left leg now. Reaches up and back. And as we exhale, we place that left foot towards the back of the mat. This time we're going to keep the knee lifted if you choose. You could also do this with the knee down. Inhale, reach it up. High runner's lunge. Let's exhale and take the arms out to the side. We're going to play more with the shoulder blades now, bringing us into like that full range of movement that we have on our shoulder blades that we often don't use. So we're going to try an external rotation of the arms. From deep in the shoulders, turn the palms, the inner elbows, and even the armpits up towards the ceiling. The thumbs start to tilt back. So we're moving away from the front of our mat. And then we exhale, and we take the opposite movement. The thumbs start to look down, the palms look down. The shoulders start to roll up and over. And you'll notice you automatically come into a little kind of forward fold here in the upper back. And then we play. We inhale, open all the way up. Keep the legs strong, knees scissoring together, and we exhale and draw it in. Take that one more time. What is the bhava? What is the feeling as you open and lift the chest? What is the bhava? What is the feeling as you draw it in? Last deep breath. Let's always end with an open heart. Deep breath in. Reach the arms up and exhale. Place the hands. Step it back. Plank pose. Find your strength in the plank. Reach out through the heels. Take a deep breath in here. Spine, chest, pressing high. Exhale, lower the knees. Draw yourself with control all the way down to the floor. Point the toes. Slide your fingernails to touch, especially the index fingers. Fingernails touching the back of the hips. Now inhale, lift the elbows up off the floor. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and down the back, look up. And then you might choose here to interlace the hands again. And notice how you can come up even higher because the shoulder blades are moving even further down the back. Find your glutes and lift up the legs too. Salabhasana, deep breaths here. And then exhale, soften down. This time we're going to come directly into our downward facing dog. Reach through the fingers into the floor. And press the heels towards the floor. It doesn't matter if they don't touch. Reach long through the spine. Look for the length in the spine. The knees might be bent to find that length. Then softly move the shoulders away from the ears in any way that feels good. So we're not yanking or pulling on the shoulders. We're finding the place that they want to be in. What are your shoulders asking for? Let's take an exhale. Tuck left knee into chest and step the foot forward. Now, if you did this on the first side with the knee down, then you want to do that again. And then for the rest of us, we're going to keep the knee lifted. We come up into our high runner's lunge. Exhale, take the arms out to the side, externally rotate. Palms look up, thumbs touch down. And exhale. You already know what you're doing here, so let's just do this 3 times, your own breath, your own bhava, your own feeling in the pose. Let the upper back move with the shoulders. Everything is connected. Deep breath in. Let's reach the arms up, and then exhale. Forward fold, top of mat, right foot comes in. Drop the relaxed brain, heavy skull. If your spine was water right now, it would be pouring out of the bowl of the hips. Find that liquid spine. Let it just pour out of the bowl of the hips. Full breaths here. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, release. So I'm going to ask you to please take a step back, come to the sides of your mat. We're going to take the feet kind of 2 shoulder distances apart. And so that's really individual to you, a comfortable stance. We're going to take a bend in the right knee, turn towards the back of the mat. So that we're looking towards the back of our mat in Warrior One. Your back knee, your left knee is straight and it's not twisted. Your hips look more or less forward, but it doesn't have to be 100%. Ask your body what it needs. What feels good in my hips? Reach both sets of feet into the floor, spread your toes, and pull up energy from the floor through the legs. We're going to inhale, float the arms up. And as we exhale, take the thumbs towards the jade pillow, that little soft spot at the top of the neck where it meets the skull. You're going to place your thumbs right there so you can help yourself lift up the back of the neck. And then it's like we're lounging on a beach. We're going to open up through the chest, through the neck. Let the heavy head drop into the hands, elbows open. And then exhale, tuck in the chin. Let the weight of the arms drop the head deep into the chest like a sleeping bird. And then we flow between these 2 poses, over strong legs. We inhale, we open up, we lounge on a beach. And we exhale, the upper back gently rounds, chin drops, elbows heavy. One more time, inhale. And exhale. And then I always like to end on the back bend. So we're going to inhale, open up the front of the chest, reach the arms up. And then exhale, turn towards the side of your mat. We're going to take the toes out and the heels slightly in. Your feet are just the perfect width apart for you. We place the hands on the top of the thighs and guide the knees to stretch out over the center toes. And this is a nice way of just checking, are your feet too wide? You want this to feel nice and grounded, not like you might slide out into the splits here. Let the tailbone feel really free, so your bum sticks out a little instead of tucking under, if you could make a choice. Let's decompress the spine. Let's press the hands into the thighs. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, right shoulder tries to tap the left knee. Inhale to lift it long. Exhale, left shoulder taps the right knee. Once more, inhale, lift up. And exhale, tap right knee, or right shoulder. Inhale, lift up. And then exhale, tap. Okay, a few more breaths here in our goddess pose. Can you sink it a little deeper? Take the arms up. We're gonna release neck and jaw, lion's breath. Exhale. Elbows come wide, stretch the face. Inhale. Deep into the hips. Let that breath drop deep. Inhale. Last one. Then inhale, lift up. Let's exhale, bring the hands onto the hips, turn the heels slightly in, the toes slightly wide. Interlace the hands behind the back. We always take the same interlace. Can you switch your other thumb to be closer to your body? You'll feel like you're holding somebody else's hand. And then inhale, lift up. Exhale, bend the knees, just 2 centimeters. Reach the spine long. Drop that relaxed and heavy head. Breathe here and think about the shoulders. So could the shoulders rest in this position? Let gravity do the work for you. Every exhale, you relax more in the shoulders. The hands stay interlaced. Where do your shoulder blades slide to? And then what is the bhava? What is the feeling of this pose? Let's take one more round of breath. And then press the feet into the floor, reach up through the hands. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, release. Give the shoulders a little shake. We're gonna come into our second warrior one. Now it's the left leg in front if you started with the right. Make sure as you make this transition that the left foot is on the left side of the mat. The right foot is on the right side of the mat. So your feet are still hip distance apart, even though it's a long stance. Right hip moves forwards, left hip draws back, but not so much that it feels unnatural. Find that perfect position for your hips. There are no rules. And then inhale, reach the arms up. We're gonna take the thumbs to the back of the head, open up the elbows, take a deep breath in. And exhale, drop the chin. Inhale to open up. And exhale to drop it down. Keep the legs strong. Inhale. Let the shoulder blades in the chest and the elbows all move together. Exhale. It's like a sleeping bird. Chin drops down. Last one. Inhale. Open it up. We like to end on that back bend. Lift the hands. And exhale. Release. And step up to the top of your mat. Take the feet, hip distance apart, maybe a little bit wider, toes out. We're going to drop down into Malasana, yogi squat. Now if your heels are lifted up off the ground, you don't need to worry about it, although if you're more comfortable, you could use your blanket underneath the heels so that the heels can stay lifted but still be grounded. We're going to bring the hands into prayer. Find length through the spine. Take a deep breath here. Soft jaw. And then more preparation for a shoulder stand. We're going to interlace the hands behind the head again. And again, like a sleeping bird. Drop the chin.
And breathe into the back. Anywhere you find tension in the back, just ease into it with the breath. Inhale, lift the elbows, lift the face. Place the hands, step it back, plank pose. Find the strength in your plank. Lift the chest to press up into the shoulder blades. We're lifting away from our armpits. And then exhale, lower the knees. Come all the way down. The front tips of the shoulders never come down to the floor. They always stay gently lifted. Let's reach the arms back. Middle fingers reaching towards the heels. And then inhale, lift up, Salabhasana, legs and chest lift. Now there's an option to stay here, or if you're feeling it, you can bend the knees and come into a fuller back bend of Dhanurasana. This is your choice. Think of how strong your legs can pull on your hands so you can ease through the shoulders. Find the back of the neck, slide it towards the ceiling. One more deep inhale here. Exhale, lower down. Transition, long child's pose. You might choose here to keep the knees nice and wide so that the spine can stay long. Drop your head. Breathe into the belly. Let the jaw relax. What is the bhava? What is the feeling of this pose? Let's inhale and slowly come up. We're going to bring our legs out in front of us. Step the right foot over the left leg. We're going to inhale, reach both arms up. Press that right foot down into the floor like you could stand on it. And then exhale, reach back behind you with the right hand. Hook the left elbow around the right knee. Right fingertips touch the floor. Open up across the front of the chest. Gently look behind you. Find that rich, full abdominal breath. And then slowly release. We're going to change sides, right leg long, left knee bends, left foot is really engaged in the floor here. We stay grounded. We inhale, we reach up. And then we exhale, we twist to the left, right elbow hooks around the left knee to draw that thigh in. Find the length in your spine and an openness across the front of the chest. Full soft breath, relax into the breath. And then become aware of the bhava, the feeling of the pose. Let's slowly release our twist. Both legs long. Paschimottanasana. Inhale, reach the middle fingers away from the sitting bones. Sitting bones press down away from the middle fingers, and exhale, reach forwards. Reach forwards. And then release the elbows heavy towards the floor. They don't have to touch the floor. But what I'd like you to think about is your shoulders just relaxing and rounding here. We're not reaching, we're not grasping for any goal. We're just coming into the feeling of the pose, into that quiet mind space. Jaw, neck, and shoulders relax. Let your mind rest in the breath, in the bhava, the feeling of the pose. And then inhale and slowly come up. We're going to do just a few more things on our back, and then we're going to get into our shoulder stand practice. So let's come down onto our backs.
We're gonna be super traditional now. We are gonna do some good old-fashioned, 1930s style leg lifts. So if you feel like your abdominals, maybe you need to take a couple more of Mandy's core classes, maybe you've got some trouble in the lower back today, you can slide the hands underneath your bum, and you're just gonna make that a little bit easier for yourself. You might have the hands beside you. If you're feeling pretty hardcore, you come to a lot of our HIIT classes. You can always bring the arms up overhead. But whichever variation you choose, you want the lower back to stay stable, belly toning back towards the spine. We inhale, we lift both legs up. See, I told you it was old-fashioned. And we exhale, we draw them back down. The legs stay strong and the belly and spine don't move. They are firm. We inhale and lift. And we exhale and lower. Let's just continue in our own pace. And while we do our leg lifts, I just want to point out that coming into shoulder stand requires this leg lift because we have to get into the pose. And getting into the pose, if you're new to shoulder stand, it can feel a little bit like an act of faith, a leap of faith towards the ceiling. So feeling confident in your leg lifts is going to help you feel confident as you lift up into the pose. Let's take this one more time. Inhale, lift the legs. And then we're going to exhale super slow to come all the way down. The belly is toning back towards the spine. The spine is pressing towards the floor, fully controlled. And then release. Bend the knees. Can you reach for your heels here? Now this all depends on how long your arm bones are, the geometry of your body. So we want the heels about slightly wider than the hips, in fairly close to the bum so you can feel a drop line, knee to heels. We're going to press down through the toes, down through the feet, through the heels. Inhale, lift up the hips, coming into a bridge. And now take your shoulders and walk them underneath the chest. And as you walk your shoulders underneath the chest, what you'll probably realize is you're coming into that open external rotation of the arms. The palms, the soft skin of the inner arms is going to look up towards the ceiling. Press the shoulders heavily into the floor and reach the hips up a little higher, reach the knees away from you. Just as we did in our Salabhasana and Cobra, can you keep that external rotation of the arms but interlace the fingers? Elbows squeeze even more together. Shoulder blades come even more in. Now relax the neck, tuck the chin in, and let the chest move upwards towards the chin. The chin doesn't react. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And then on your next exhale, release the arms, give yourself space, slowly row it down. Then we're going to lift the legs up towards the ceiling again. I'm going to show you my favorite way to get up nice and easy. The hands come just behind the bum, where the bum would be if you had your legs on the floor. And then we come up, and it's just like ab-free sit up. So we are prepared for a shoulder stand. We've warmed up neck and shoulders. We've worked on that moving together of the shoulder blades. We are ready. But I want to point out, there's a little bit of anatomy here. If you drop your chin to your chest, this is not probably a 90-degree angle. For some people, they really can find a 90-degree angle here. But most human bodies don't have that range of movement. It's sort of outside of being normal or common. So this is why we use props. Take your blanket, place it somewhere in your mat, and fold your mat over your blanket. So that when you come into shoulder stand, look at this lift that you have. Your shoulders will be up on here, but your head will be here. And this allows me to come into my shoulder stand. I don't need 90 degrees in my neck because my blanket is here to support me. Another thing you can do if you don't have a blanket, and I do this a lot in yoga classes where there aren't blankets available, I just fold my mat, and then my mat becomes my blanket. So lots of options here. But if you want your yoga practice to support you through your whole life, use a blanket for your shoulder stand so that you can do it regularly for your whole life. So we're going to come down. And we place our shoulders onto the blanket. And then you'll see here that my head is lower than my chest. So I'm in a slight inversion already.
head lower than heart. But there's also this huge space. Look, my fingers fit. My whole hand fits underneath my neck here. These delicate vertebrae of the neck are designed to bear weight of the head. Not the whole body, but the shoulders can take it. So this is a shoulder stand, not a neck stand. Let's bring our legs long. Let's think about that leg lift. We're going to inhale, legs lift up, and then we press all the way up. We use our hands to support the mid-back. Hook your thumb and index finger around the base of the ribs and walk them down a little higher towards the top of the ribs. And the first few breaths in shoulder stand, you just kind of accept, see how you are, see how you're feeling. Notice if the neck is pressing onto the floor. If it is, come down, grab more mats, grab more blankets, and lift the shoulders a little higher. The head and the shoulders are touching the floor, but the neck is not. It's like a bridge, it's arched over. Now, if you're choosing not to come into shoulder stand today, you do your leg lift, and then you stay in that pose. There's also a version, somewhere in between just having the legs lifted and bum on the floor, a little half shoulder stand, where you hold the back of the hips. This puts some pressure on the arms, so it's quite strengthening, but this is a good shoulder stand as well, same benefits. Now, if you are in a fuller shoulder stand, we've been up long enough that we can now bend the knees. Bring the knees down to the forehead. This changes your center of gravity suddenly. The hands can come free. We interlace the hands. Just like we did in bridge, we press the hands down to the floor. Elbows come in, and we can walk our shoulders underneath our chest. Bring your shoulder blades together. This is all the work we've done. You're ready for this. Bring the hands back to support the rib cage, and reach your hips up high. Reach the inner thighs up high, the feet up high. Just like in bridge, the chin is softly tucked into the chest. It's like that sleeping bird. And the chest is lifting up towards the chin. Soften the neck. And instead of thinking of this as a deeply strengthening pose, I'm going to invite you to relax in the pose. And to let the breath just move through the whole pose. To experience the bhava, the feeling of the pose. When we use these props, we can hold this shoulder stand for longer because we're in such a safe position with the weight on the shoulders. Let's take a few more breaths here. Now you might choose to stay in your shoulder stand, or you could flex your feet. And here's another leg lift, but gravity is slightly different. We're going to draw the straight legs together up over the head until the toes touch down on the floor behind us. If that works, if your feet have come all the way down to the floor, you can interlace your hands and lift your hips up even higher from your shoulders. Squeeze the shoulder blades and elbows even closer together so we get to adjust our pose. If your legs are floating in space, keep your back supported. Your belly lifts up the hips. So 2 different ways of experiencing this plow pose, halasana. Keep breathing here. Inner thighs lifting towards the ceiling. And then re-support the back. And inhale, both legs lift up together. Another classic leg lift. How does the shoulder stand feel now? What is that feeling in the pose? We often say that we're carrying the world on our shoulders. And this is a pose that really helps us learn that we've got that strength. You've got this. Can you carry this whole body on your shoulders with a sense of balance, of grace, of calm? Now we're going to bring the legs just slightly kind of into maybe 1/8 of a plow pose, just to change the center of gravity. We bring the hands down into the floor. We use them as brakes. We firm the belly, Here's more leg lifts, because we're gonna lower the legs slowly down onto the floor. Bend the knees, place the feet on the floor, and then we shuffle backwards until our blanket helps us find a really nice back bend. Elbows nice and wide on the floor. And then again, notice the bhava, the feeling of this pose. To come out of shoulder stand, how does your neck feel? How is the breath? How do your armpits feel now that they're nice and open? How has the breath changed from shoulder stand to this little supported back bend? Relax down into the floor. And then roll over to one side. And slowly come up. We're going to unroll our mat, take away our blanket, and I'm going to show you the classic counter posture to shoulder stand that we'll take before our Shavasana. This is one of, for me in my practice, like one of my favorite yoga poses. It opens the chest, the solar plexus, and the neck up so much. And so I really want you to feel that bhava, that feeling of the pose. We're going to come into a fish, a Matsyasana. First, bend the knees. Place the feet onto the floor, roll onto one side so you can slide one arm underneath the body, palm looking down. And then we come onto the other side, take the other arm underneath you. I like to hook my thumbs. And this way I can really squeeze my shoulders, tuck my shoulders underneath my chest, bring my elbows close in. Then I drop my heavy hips down onto my wrists. My bum comes down onto my hands. You might have a slightly different geography of your body or geometry. We're gonna break or drop the legs down into the floor. Legs heavy, hips heavy. The legs and hips don't move here, they stay on the floor. But the upper back moves a lot. We're gonna press down through the elbows, bend the elbows, inhale, tuck in your chin, look at your big toes, and then open up the chest, open up the neck, and allow the top of your head to slide gently down into the floor. Now, 95% of your body weight, most of the effort, shoulder blades lifting the rib cage, and elbows pressing down into the floor. Your head is barely touching the floor, it's just resting. And now use the breath. Breathe deeply into the belly, the shoulder, the solar plexus, the chest, the neck. So every time we breathe in, we're breathing in new energy, we're breathing in courage. This is such an open pose, such a powerful pose. Let's take 3 more deep breaths here. These are the deepest breaths you can take all day. This is about as open as it gets. Breathe in that fresh new energy. And then on your next breath in, tuck in the chin, and then slowly release down on an exhale. Release the arms. Come into Shavasana. And notice the bhava, the feeling of this Shavasana. Let the back of the chest melt into the floor. And feel the effect of your shoulder stand practice on the neck, on the front of the chest, maybe even a little on the jaw. To decompress the spine before our final relaxation, we're going to bring the knees into the chest. Externally rotate the right arm. Armpit, inner elbow, palm of hand looks up towards the ceiling, and the back of the hand, back of the elbow drops into the floor. Then use your left hand on the outside of the right knee, and with control, draw both knees over to the left. Glance towards your right thumb and breathe. Take that breath deep into the belly. Soften the face and jaw. Inhale, both knees come back up. And take the same thing just as mindfully on the second side. So the right hand comes across to the outer left knee. Left arm is rotating open towards the ceiling. So the back of the wrist, back of the hand touches the floor. Let the shoulder blade sink down. And then on an exhale, with control, draw the knees to the right and look over towards your left thumb. Breathe softness through the whole body. The hard work is done. Notice where you're feeling any residual tension in the body. Can you use your breath to release that tension? And then inhale, draw the knees up into the chest, wrap your arms around the legs. And here you might even choose just to bring the forehead up towards the knees. And then slowly come down into your final relaxation, Shavasana. And it's in this pose where we really get to experience the residue, the feeling of our practice. Let your body sink into the floor. Heavy bones. Heavy bones, relax the tongue, the lips, and the skin behind the ears. Relax the neck and the skin where the neck meets the shoulders. How does it feel to relax there? Soften your armpits and let the shoulder blades sink heavy into the floor. And then I invite you to spend some real time in this Shavasana. What is the feeling? What is the bhava of this practice of rest? And I wish you a really good day. Hari Om Tat Sat. Rest well. Thank you very much.